Hey family, welcome back to the channel. This is One on One with Cut Names 50. You're new to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. For everybody else who's been following us for a while, hey, we got another amazing video review for you. Today featuring my girl, Candace Owens. Now, if you don't know anything about Candace, I'm not going to ramble on a lot. I'm going to let you hear what she has to say, especially now with, what's his name? LeBron James supporting Kamala Harris, the election, Diddy, you name it. She's going to go down the list and going to have so many claims, evidence, information, a different perspective that you might or may not want to hear. But when I tell you, look at this in an open mind. I don't care if you're voting for Kamala or Trump, whatever the case may be. I have an amazing video coming with my guy, Antoine Daniels. And this reception is probably one of the best videos I've ever seen him do. He was cooking on it. Some of my own family views that I have when it comes to the court system, when it comes to law, order, when it comes to politics, religion, faith, children, the future, which we're gonna have to face regardless of who is our current president. But with that being said, let's go ahead and tune in, sit back, buckle up, and get ready to watch Candace Owens at work. Let's go.
Great news and happy Friday. The news is that LeBron James, after a long period of silence, has finally broken that silence regarding the on-camera beatdown of Cassie Ventura by his Ain't No Party Like a Diddy Party friend. And he's using his massive platform to speak out on the allegations of rape, drugging, and trafficking against his friend. Honestly, I thought this day would never come. And guess what? It didn't. Why would you believe me? Of course, he did not speak out about Cassie Ventura catching a beatdown on camera, about why those parties he felt were the best parties to possibly attend. And instead, he has decided to endorse Kamala. I'm a little coward, hid my comment beneath his endorsements. We're going to discuss that. Plus, did Donald Trump drop a racial slur about Kamala Harris? Did he call her a cracker? You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. And internet, in the matter of the Harris family of Nova Scotia, we have come across answers which have led to even more questions. And yes, incest is involved. So stay tuned and welcome back to Candace.
All right, now I'm just gonna go through before her intro comes ahead. Like I said before, I like Candace. I like everything she's talks about, and it's a different view, different perspective. It's gonna be amazing. This is gonna only be part one of this video. So much
Hear
to
from LeBron
unpack.
James regarding Diddy. Here's what he had to say. Yeah, he actually didn't say a single thing, nothing at all. Look, I don't know what's going on right now in celebrity land, but it seems like everyone is getting the call. You guys know what the call is. We all know what the call is. We're like, she got the call. He got the call. And we know that Beyonce got the call first, okay? Because if you notice what Beyonce, her energy back in 2016, regarding 2016, she had a ton of energy. This election, see, she almost seemed to want to completely abstain. Like she wanted to abstain from politics. She did not have a lot of energy into it. She did the absolute least. She let Kamala use her song to walk out on stage. They kept making us think, oh, Beyonce's going to be there. She's going to be there. And then it ended up just being that Beyonce, I guess, let her use a song that Kamala definitely didn't know. But you really could sense all throughout this election cycle that Beyonce just didn't want to get involved. Because when she wants to get involved, she does the absolute most. She's Beyonce, and she did the absolute most back in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was running against Trump. She did the most, her husband did the most, and they appeared alongside a large roster of people. There was Big Sean, Chance the Rapper. You guys remember this. I'm going to jog your memory. This is 2016, Beyonce and Jay-Z showing up, turning up Hillary Clinton.
And she gonna go through a couple of the videos. I don't even want to play that music. I'm not risking getting a copyright strike. But you see Beyonce and Jay-Z, they had amazing. They're performing together, they're doing speeches, they're doing songs. Everybody in attendance enjoyed it from what I can remember. But share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this. Are they getting the call? Is she absolutely right? Or is she on to something that we might not see? Let's go.
that one definitely did not age well for Mr. Jay-Z. But I'm just saying, look at that. You see that she was dancing. She gave a very long speech. They were so intimately involved. They gave the crowd what they wanted. Like, this is Cleveland, Ohio. He rapped, she sang, they sang and rapped together. They're hugging on stage. It was like people lost their minds. And then Hillary Clinton lost. So when I say that this year it was not the same energy, that's what I'm referring to. I feel like instead what maybe happened this year with Beyonce was someone phoned her up. Like, you know, the mafia boss, the person who's like her frenemy, pretends to be like their friend. Oh, hey, Beyonce, it's so nice to see you. How are the kids? How's Blue? She's getting so beautiful. Yeah, you know, we would love to see you get involved and maybe come out and speak for Kamala Harris. You know, she's elections in a couple of weeks. And, you know, Beyonce's like, you know, I really don't want to, but she's speaking to like her boss who's pretending to be her friend and she doesn't really have a choice. And eventually he's just like, look, we got Jay-Z on tapes. It's slippery. It's a slip and slide. It's got baby oil. Get your butt out there and say something nice about Kamala Harris. So Beyonce rather begrudgingly took the stage. Everyone thought she was going to sing, and all she did was give like a 3-minute speech. And look at her face. Like, she just seems like, I cannot wait for this to be over. What do I have to say so that the mafia boss doesn't release the slip and slide tapes? Take a listen.
We are so happy to be standing here on this stage as proud country Texas women supporting, celebrating.
And she is from the country.
A woman who's been pushing for what this country really needs right now: unity. It's impossible not to feel the energy in this room. The community, the humanity.
Those facial expressions that Candace be making, the memes that go around, man, they are so hilarious. But I like Beyonce. I remember bodyguarding for him and stuff like that back in the day. She has changed, but can you be a superstar like she is and not be corrupted or changed to life? Period. Share your thoughts. Let me know below what you think.
I mean, I'm talking bare minimum. That's half the speech. You just watched half the speech that she gave. Barely says anything about Kamala. Seems like she doesn't want to be up there. She's me when I'm 9 months pregnant and I've already made a commitment to do an event. And I'm just like, oh, why did I say I would do this? Then I'm on stage. Now I've got to deal with these like kids in the audience asking me about transgenderism. I'm like, literally, I'm too pregnant for this. And I say it in my head, but then actually I say it out loud. I didn't mean to say it out loud. So I meant to say it in my head, but I feel her. Like, it's an obligation. She is doing an obligation. You can feel it. And right now, they're all getting the call. They are all getting the call. And we now know who's on the list. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and of course, LeBron James. LeBron James, he just absolutely kills me because actually, when I think about it, he does keep the same energy. I was going to say he's a fraud, but he's really not a fraud. If you think about it, what LeBron James really likes is criminality, right? If there's one thing that he is going to do the absolute most about, it is like when any Black criminal or drug addict gets caught doing anything, he is like the first to make sure that he miseducates the masses. Like, he's the king, by the way, of misinformation. Every time something happens, he never tells people the full picture. Obviously, we saw this. George Floyd, like, he was a banner for George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, never mentioned the fact that, and I'm not saying George Floyd deserved to die. That's not my perspective. But like, how can we talk about that case and not speak about the fact that he had enough fentanyl in him to kill a horse? That there was an entire portion before he even gets on the ground where they're trying to peaceably arrest him. He asks to be put on the ground. He says he's claustrophobic. What's likely happening, of course, is that he ingested, as we know, the toxicology reports came out. He had enough fentanyl in him to kill a horse. It's just a fact. He also had methamphetamine in him. It's unfortunate that George Floyd was a drug addict. Drugs impact a lot of people. But for LeBron.
And like what she's saying, when it is the observed facts when it comes to the George Floyd situation, it was horrible to watch, to see. I myself personally being in law enforcement over 25 plus years, even as a civilian watching that, I couldn't have let it happen. But that's just me personally. I know a lot of people are scared of police or whatever the case. I would have risked getting tossed to the ground, but he would have got off of his presumed neck, shoulder, putting the pressure on him that unfortunately he couldn't breathe with the pressure that he put on him. We're trained to do different things when it comes to somebody on the ground. You could have held him with both hands. There's so much that you could have done that could have prevented him from getting them. He's already handcuffed. He's already tied. I mean, he couldn't do nothing regardless. But I couldn't watch that if I was there. I don't know about you, but yes, he had all those drugs in the system when they did the toxicology report. But I look at things like that in a different lens than Candace, being in a private investigator, being in law enforcement, working with the government, the state, and you name it, over 25 plus years. And from people what I know and things, it can always be, you have the truth, then you have the perceived truth, then you have the underlying truth. So I'll tell you one thing like this. Could he have the drugs in the system? Yes, that's a fact. That was on the records. Could somebody change those results? Could he got injected some of those drugs? All these things are possibilities. So I tell people, yes, you have the truth, then you have the perceived truth, then it's an underlying truth. So what happened after George Floyd? Race war, cop brutality, a divide with police protection. It was a division that was created, and we still facing the backlash today. The Black Lives Matter, all that stuff. It was horrible for me to watch being in law enforcement and knowing a lot of my brothers and sisters in blue, first responders, you name it, and being a person of peace. I know it's great people out there who want to do their job, who want to help. Then you have those corrupt cops, just like any other job out there. You have good and bad people in the world. So I see different perspectives with all of this. My wife, she don't understand the law enforcement stuff like that, and she's going to always look at things differently. But we can't have too many discussions, like she said the other day, when it comes to law enforcement, because I'm going to look at things logically and by the law, because I know it. I done lived it, I done did it, and I know. But I'm also look at it in a different lens, because it's right and wrong on both sides. Because guess what? Police officers, criminals, everybody, we're all human. So mistakes can be made regardless of it. But let's go ahead and continue.
Aims to just like become the banner for BLM and to keep Black people angry consistently about these matters when it pertains to somebody who's not exactly living their life admirably. Like a trip down memory lane. Don't forget like the Ma'Khia Bryant tweet when he essentially, it looked like just outwardly threatened to come for a police officer. He tweeted this when Ma'Khia Bryant got shot and killed out in Ohio. I think it was Columbus, Ohio. He wrote, "You're next," with a photo of the police officer, hashtag accountability. And then people were outraged, like, what is happening right now? It's like a target for a police officer. So he took the tweet down and replaced it with this tweet. He wrote, "I'm so damn tired of seeing Black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system. And they always use our words to create more racism. I am so desperate for more accountability."
Now, and I agree with some of the stuff he said in that tweet. The whole system is corrupt. It needs to be revised and need to be changed. But besides that, the laws are created in whatever state for whatever reason. We don't control that. But if we can get to the legislature and make these changes enforceable, that's a different ballgame. But when it comes to officers not knowing and understanding how to do their job, how to act in certain situations, that comes to training. Most, as you already know, most first responder, most jobs are understaffed, underpaid, overworked, you name it. They don't have the ability to train officers. Like when I was coming up, 2 years before you out there by yourself. Now it's 3 months, 6 months, and some even less than that. You don't even have the education and the knowledge or experience to be by yourself, to handle different situations. So what you know, when it comes to life and death situations, generally you go back to your basic survival instincts, and you could overreact or you could underreact, coming either way. So it could be life or death for you or life or death for somebody else. My old mentality coming up, and not saying it's right or wrong, especially if you go overseas, they tell you to shoot first, ask questions later. That's just was the old mentality, the old way of coming up, and it depends on your environment situation. If you're overseas, you're in war, you're doing whatever the case may be, you want to get back to your family. That's the end of the day. You want to still not overthink two things. You don't want to act off of rationale, but you respond off the evidence that you have, off your perception, off your knowledge, off the situations around you. You know when something is going all the way wrong. So with that being said, I can see why the tweet came back and forth, but it's just one of them things, man. Let's go.
missing from this tweet is like the fact that Ma'Khia Bryant was in the process of stabbing someone. Yeah, she had a gun, she had a knife and was on top of another girl and was about to stab her, and the police officer shot her to save the other Black person's life. But, this is LeBron James. Don't expect a full picture of anything. It's just like, if a Black person is like, why can't we as Black people stab people in peace? That's what I want to know. That's what LeBron James wants to know. It's just like, listen, yeah, okay, we maybe sometimes get on top of girls and try to stab them, but who's this white police officer trying to stop us? Who called this boss? I feel you, LeBron. I feel you. Breonna Taylor was another situation. People still do not know the facts surrounding the Breonna Taylor case. That is how loud these celebrities were with their Breonna Taylor endorsements. And this was LeBron James, by the way. He tweeted this, which is really funny, only when you think about his silence over Cassie. He tweeted, "The most disrespected person on earth is the Black woman. I promise you I'll do my best to change this as much as I can, and even more. Love to you, queens all over the country and beyond."
Now, in this tweet right here, it goes kind of, and I'm going to just say this with the election with Kamala Harris, with the left or the right, the Democrats versus the Republicans. When you see something like this, what do you think when it comes to, he's now supporting Kamala Harris? And I hear a lot of women talk about this when it comes to women's rights and stuff like that. The new agenda, I don't know what they call it. Is it disrespecting for people to vote Democrats if they're really for women's rights, or is it disrespectful the other way? I don't know. Like I said before, I'm not either Republican or Democrat, but I've heard both sides. So share your perception, share your thoughts, and let me know what you think. Let's go.
Love to us queens. No, Cassie, not you, girl. He ain't doing his best to speak out when he watched his friend beat you on camera. Definitely not. Not on any of the queens, the Black queens who are lining up and saying that they were drugged by Diddy, allegedly, right? But he's like, you ain't the kind of queens I'm talking about. Just the girls at the party, and I'm going to pretend that I didn't do nothing and I didn't see nothing. And of course, the facts of the Breonna Taylor case. Like, again, it's always a tragedy when somebody dies. It really is always a tragedy because they have loved ones, but nobody knows the truth about that story. They all said it was no-knock warrant. She was sleeping in bed. She was not sleeping in bed. We know that she was not sleeping in bed. And the reason why the police officers got off was because they had a warrant. The warrant was for her house. The warrant was for her house because Breonna Taylor had a boyfriend who was not at the house that night, an ex-boyfriend who she was accepting packages for. I think in like the Fetty Wap world, this is referred to as a trap queen. And they had been watching her house, watching her accept these USPS packages. And then he would come pick them up. Her ex-boyfriend would come pick them up, and he would go to a known drug place and get that cut up or distributed. So they'd watched her. They got a warrant. On that warrant, it said they did not have to knock, but they did. And we know they knocked because the guy that was with her that night told the police officers that they heard a knock and they didn't know who it was. And this
documented evidence, no knock warrant. But I done heard a lot of misinformation about that story. But I still don't believe, maybe if shots was fired, because I think I first heard that they came in the house, they shot a lady, and that's not who they was looking for. They was looking for the ex-boyfriend, whatever the case may be. But somebody in the house, if you shoot at police, if they knocking on your door, you better believe it's a high probability that everybody in the house is going to be shot. Because now it's unwarranted if they didn't shoot first and they can't see. So that's these things like this is always touchy topics, is always misinformation, is always we'll never know the facts for it. But that's why I say you got to basically read the whole outline, the whole police reports to understand what actually happened, the body cam footage, and put everything into play, because we know different footage can show different things in a different light. Let's go.
The reason that he fired, because he thought, again, he shot the police first, the guy that she was with, because he thought that maybe it could have been a burglar, right? So there was never everything you were told about the Breonna Taylor case from celebrities, which is a lie meant to drum up race issues. And all the police officers were let go because, of course, they were able to check all of this and see that they were there on that location for a reason. Again, still a tragedy that Breonna Taylor died, but also we could have a conversation about how if we don't involve ourselves in lifestyles, no matter what race we are, right? Getting involved in drugs, accepting drugs, selling drugs, doing drugs, not a very great idea. But that would be about hashtag accountability. And he's not about accountability. He really isn't. Like, he is like about making sure that criminals can commit crimes, which is why it makes sense. It makes sense that he's endorsing Kamala Harris, because this woman has done absolutely nothing in her life but help, as we have learned, criminals get off, right? We learned this from Yuichi Shimatsu. We learned this from Judge Joe Brown. We have learned that this woman is corrupt. She is crooked. She is all about making sure that the people that were at the top of the cartel were getting off, handing them light sentences, while making sure the Black men were getting locked up. So this is a perfect union. But the manner in which he went about it, it is like, it's a dumb level of propaganda. Like, it's like, you could do this to literally anyone. And if we had had more time, I would have done this with me. You just take out of context sentences of someone, no context, and just put a bunch of terrible things that have happened to Black people in the past during the civil rights movement and make it seem like the person is speaking about Black people when they're not in any of these regards. So this is what, this was the video, the propaganda video that his mafia boss handed to him and said, you better tweet this or the slip and slide comes out. Take a look.
Yeah, this video right here was so disheartening. And I think it should be illegal to spread misinformation like that. I don't care who it's from. If it's the Republican side, the Democrat side, any side, especially, that's why I say it's dirty politics. Now, if you're just showing the actual speeches and stuff like that, I don't think it's dirty politics. But when you come from, the slander, the down talking, the misrepresentation of things, it's horrible to see, but it's allowed. So I tell people, I don't even pay attention too much in the ad itself. I pay attention to why and who's pushing the ad and how come the ad can be shown to millions of America on TV without any kind of repercussions, without any false advertising, without anything happening to the people who actually put it out there. No lawsuits, no nothing. And that tells me a lot about the world that we live in. Let's go. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Tune in, watch this, pay attention, and watch how Candace dismantles this. And you yourself should know, if you know anything about Trump or whatever the case may be, what this video is actually doing. Let's go.
All right. Heck yeah. It's a cool Black guy. That's one of my buddies. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
No, I'm not a racist. They're taking Black jobs now. The whole country is going to be it'll be like Detroit. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? They're poisoning the blood of our country. Troublemaker. These are troublemakers. Look, I love the old days, Do you know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. Now, you had one really violent day, like one rough hour, and I mean real rough. The word will get out, and it will end.
Do we have the video of him reading answering the
But
question?
we're going to indemnify police officers and law enforcement from being destroyed by the radical left. You're changing history. You're changing culture.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need.
It's just Trump out of context and just interspliced with videos of the civil rights movement. It's offensively dumb is what it is. And I keep saying this. People used to get really offended with me for saying that it's very obvious. It just is very obvious that if LeBron James sat down and took an IQ test, a lot of what he does would make sense. And I'm just calling it as I see it. That's a very dumb, obvious propaganda video that makes entirely no sense. It's just out of context clips. You would have.
But even say if I was an athlete, whatever the case, I never play anything like that. But that's just my perception. Whether if I just didn't like Trump, I hate him, whatever the case, or hated whoever, I'm not gonna put that out there for people to take it either way. This word is very persuasive to other people, and everybody's not mentally sound. We know that. I used to see it every day. You tell people that somebody's a threat, they can be thinking that they're doing a citizen's favor, a patriot act, and take that person out. They're not thinking about consequences. They're not thinking about rationale. They're not thinking about none of that, because they feel like they've been called to do a duty. You can't do stuff like that, especially if you got that big of a platform, that big of an influence to other people. There's no influence to me. I can say I'm not a fan or I don't idolize nobody. I don't care. Michael Jordan was one of my most favorite basketball players when it comes to guard. David Robinson was one of my favorite centers out there. But if you know anything about the Admiral and stuff like that, that's a different thing. But I still don't idolize nobody, especially man, when it comes to it. There's only one person that I idolize, and that's God. But that's my own personal perception. No, we know that most of us don't operate in that fashion. You know, we are passionate about some other things, and a lot of people use that to their advantage. They take our passion, they take our loyalty, and they twist it for whatever perverted reason that they may have. Like I said before, it's just sad to see that this is the world we live in. But share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let's go.
An idiot to watch that and go, Trump said all of that, and black people got punched and taken out of restaurants. It's literally one of those things I literally vividly remember. He was speaking to a white guy. He was speaking to a white guy when he was speaking about in the old days you get beat up because like yeah I'm down for that, like I very much believe in that. That's why I love living in the South. It's like you got to take care of your neighbors, you know what I mean? You can't behave like this without facing some sort of a consequence. And they tried to make it seem like he was referring to a black man. It's ridiculous. And what makes me really happy though is that under the comments he got completely roasted. Black people, white people, everyone just calling him out and being like, dude, what is this trash? Let's look at some of these comments. And these are, by the way, in a row. We're not looking for comments that are like anti-LeBron. This is literally the first comments underneath this post. The biggest one is I'm voting for Trump button. That's got 18,000 likes. The next is the king of basketball, no doubt, but the man has no brains with politics. He has no brains, period, by the way. He's all brawn, no brains. That's actually, he should use that. No, all brawn, no brains. Trump for president. All of these celebs are sellouts. No matter who you support, this is fake advertising. I mean, that really is the best comment. No matter who you support, this is fake advertising. Do better, LeBron. This is why MJ is the GOAT. You sold out. And I always say this, like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were just so much more sophisticated and intelligent and aware of how the industry would try to use them to sell crap. And they just didn't take the bite. They never bit the bullet on that. So he is just the most disappointing talent in the NBA, in my opinion. Next up, this person writes, I'm voting Trump. Love you, Bron. But this ain't it, bro. Vote Trump. No party like a Diddy party, right, LeBron? As a Laker fan, I lost all my respect for you. Ain't no party like a Diddy party, right? Another reason you'll never be over MJ. And so you can see the sentiment. It really was uniform. I commented and he actually hid my comment where I was just like, man, like, what do they have on you? Because this is so ridiculous. It almost seems like it's not even a good effort when you're just going, he's literally Hitler. He's showing clips of newspaper articles calling Trump Hitler as if that somehow makes it true. I am telling you, it's just his education level to me is something that has always been impressed upon me. Whenever I see him reading that first page of every book and pretending that he's become educated, it's embarrassing. And I just hope that Black Americans realize this. You can appreciate him as a basketball player, but you should also appreciate the fact that he's not a person that you go to when it comes to understanding politics or understanding policy, because he has no idea what he's doing. He's being told what to say and what to do. And usually he's a walking contradiction. Now, I just want to show this video because it's one of the greatest of all times when somebody actually asked him about the book he was reading, because he notoriously always walks into the locker room and he's reading the first page. And so finally a journalist asked him like, hey, how's that book you're reading? And LeBron James obviously cannot answer the question because LeBron James does not read any books. Take a listen.
Taylor, you want to follow up? Yeah. So you're holding the autobiography of Malcolm X along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago.
Always.
But I've read a lot of notes over the years. It's my first time actually reading this from start to finish. But he's a very smart man. Very, very, very smart man. And basically, his words in the 60s and what's going on is actually what's going on today still. Him understanding how powerful the Negro can be. He uses that word a lot. How powerful we are. But we have to unite. And we have to be together. We have to stand strong because there's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be, things that's going to be thrown at us where they try to weaken us. They try to make us feel like we're not kings and queens, and it's gonna come from all different races and different shapes and sizes and things of that nature. And just a very powerful minded gentleman. And it's unbelievable to kind of read something that's coming directly from him. Just hate. Wish I had an opportunity to meet him. Obviously, the situation that happened, not only him, but Dr. Martin Luther King, some of the greats that's ever walked this face of the earth, not only just here in America, but in the face of the earth. So
They do remind me of a kid reading the story or trying to replay it back, and they haven't read the whole book and stuff like that. And like I say, maybe just take it for granted. He haven't read it from start to finish, but it does seem like he haven't read it. He read it. I don't know how long. I don't know this clip. I don't know the context, but man, Candace is ridiculous when she comes at her laughing. She can't hold it back, and she's not going to hold it back. That's why I like it so much.
It's a pretty interesting book so far.
I'm sorry you guys had to have been in a state of pain watching that. Look, I think it's actually very relatable. I love it because I was an English major. I take all the AP English classes. We were always having to read a book. And there were so many days where I just didn't read the chapter. And then you get like a surprise pop, write a 1-page, a little essay about this chapter. And that's me. I'm like, Wuthering Heights, Jane Austen novel. It's just amazing to be able to read this Jane Austen novel. And Mr. Darcy was a very, 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 very powerful man. And it's just amazing to really consider this time period and to really comprehend the way that people were living in this time period in the house. And it was very unique. And for me to be able to read this sitting here in 2006, to appreciate what it means to be in this age and the things that Jane Austen wanted to deliver. And I really love the usage of the imagery and to think about the plants. And I'm getting an F, aren't I? It's the realest thing LeBron James has ever done because he's a fraud. All right, guys. Now let me tell you about 7 Weeks Coffee. All right, you guys know I drink 7 Weeks.
All right, she gonna go on her little spiel, but that's just part one, like I said, of this interview right here. And the title is called "LeBron Finally Breaks His Silence Over Diddy." This is Candace, episode 96. Like I said before, I like Candace. I like what she stands for. I like just watching her grow over the years. I remember when she first got into politics. And I was like, this young lady right here is gonna be amazing when she starts coming into her own. Now you see she's a mother. Now she done had I think 3 kids now, or just 2. But she's married. Husband, mother, has her own now podcast and channel. She's blowing up almost 3 million subscribers over there. So I wish her much success. I wish her, I just like seeing her just do what she loves to do. Is obvious she has a gift for this right here, research, giving the information, not being biased either way, being a vocal, I guess, Trump supporter over the years, not agreeing or with everything that they have to say, but being against politics. And you don't know nothing about her mother's style. Like I said, as a nutritionist myself, she was against what they call it, the immunization shots for kids that they all was born and she didn't give them the shots. She don't believe in that. Just giving your body natural immunity a chance to work and stuff like that. All the negative effects. She talks about her experience when she was in the hospital doing the birth of her kids. And I think one of them, they threatened to call the police on her, say child endangerment. They wanted to try to arrest her, whatever the case. They was pretty much some of the other things. Hey, do you have the money to cover whatever? She was like, no, I'll check with my own pediatrician or whatever else. And she denied all the shots that they want to give you while you're there. She talks all about that, and it's an amazing story. If y'all know anything about a researcher, see if you can pull those videos up. That was so long ago, but I did kind of the same thing. I'm up for natural immunity. I'm not for giving your kids the best opportunity for their natural immunity to take place. Give them a chance to live naturally before we quick to jab them with whatever else to prevent future stuff. But we all know as an infant, we're not taking them out the house for the first 6, 8 weeks or even longer in some cases. We're going to protect them. We're going to give them everything they need. So they shouldn't need all these things injected in their system at the beginning of their life because they're not going to face them. But I get the pros for them. I get the negatives for them. But it's just so much information that we just don't know. But share your thoughts about this episode right here. Like I said, this part one. Stay tuned. The part two is going to be amazing. I haven't even watched it. I watched this first 18, 20 minutes of this episode right here. And I think it's another 20 minutes left. So we'll see what she has to talk about. I don't know, like I said before, what's going on, but stay tuned. I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing. It's going to be shocking. It's going to be eye-opening. Candace Owens is one of the best in the business of what she does. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning in to One on One with Cutlass 50. And with that, we out.